What is up, my friends? The good news is your weekend has officially started and you are very welcome along to Friday evening's Anfield Agenda news roundup. I wish I had better tidings to bring you with regards to the transfer news, but it looks like we're going to be frustrated this month as others in and around us look to deepen their squads for the push for the second half of the season. But at least according to some of the Liverpool journalists, we're going to be stacking talent for the future and not for the dire need that we have now. That and lots more to come up over the next few minutes. We will be back tonight for the late night agenda. We're just about to record an episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast, so lots coming up, and I hope to see you back here tonight at 8:45. Until then, let's start off with something James Pearce posted late last night, which was an apology on, I think, Gabriel Martinelli's Instagram account, and he said, "Connor and I have messaged and I've already apologised to him. I seriously didn't understand he was injured in the heat of the moment or seriously injured. I want to say I'm deeply sorry for reacting. Sending Connor all my best again for a speedy recovery." Look, I am somebody in life who, as I've said before, always appreciates an apology, but I'm not buying that he didn't know how injured he was. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just not buying that, because you could see it quite clearly. And he had 1, 2 or 3 attempts at having a pop at him, throwing the ball at him in his face and then trying to drag him off the pitch. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. Sky Sports pundit Gary Neville has hit out at Martinelli, calling the Brazilian disgraceful and adding, "I'm fuming with Martinelli. I don't know how Liverpool players didn't go over and absolutely whack him, to be honest with you." And former Gary Neville teammate, Manchester United teammate Roy Keane added, "I didn't like it at all. It happened to me once. I was badly injured and a player stood over me. It's not good. We know football. The player's a good lad. Throwing the ball at him, standing over him and getting a little knee on him, and he tries to force him off. The behaviour is an absolute disgrace. He's a good boy to roll over himself. Hopefully Martinelli will have a good look at it and hopefully he'll apologise for it. Not good stuff, that." I wonder who Keane was talking about there. I mean, suggestions in the comments? Does his son still play football now, perhaps? Anyway, that's what the professionals had to say about it, but of course, we'd like to know what you guys think about it. Arsenal, according to the Mirror, are ready to join the race with Manchester City to try to sign England defender Mark Gay. Yeah, this one's starting to get a little bit worrying, isn't it? Because Manchester City look like they're willing to put the money down. They've just signed Antoine Semenyo on a 5.5-year deal. We know that one's been done. I think there's a 10% sell-on clause in there for Bournemouth as well. So that's one target of Liverpool's that we were looking at gone. Now, Mark Gay could be another one, because Liverpool seemingly don't want to put their hand in their pocket. And Nico Schlotterbeck, well, I wish I had better news on that front for you, but according to Bild, Real Madrid are stepping up their interest in Borussia Dortmund defender Nico Schlotterbeck. David Ornstein, speaking about the Mark Gay situation, had this to say: "Arsenal retain a long-held interest in Mark Gay, most likely as a summer option. Arsenal discussing the Crystal Palace defender and in touch with the 25-year-old's camp. Liverpool also want the England international at the end of the season. Manchester City keen immediately." And he said via The Athletic after John Cross of the Mirror. Now look, folks, I don't understand this. You know I'm a simple man, but I do not understand how anybody inside the boardroom at Anfield does not see our dire need for a centre-back at this moment in time. And yet they still seem intent on not bringing one in. We're going to hear from David Lynch in a little bit, who's been speaking about Liverpool stacking up young talent for the future. And whilst I always appreciate the club bringing in young talent, like I said, we do need a here and now centre-back. And I'm starting to get really frustrated with it. Last night's result, of course, was a welcome one and one that we spoke about on the stream, but we need a centre-back. And if we don't get one, I really do fear for the remainder of the campaign. So, Dom Smith said, exclusive, Gabriel Martinelli will not face any retrospective action for shoving Conor Bradley. I didn't think he would, and I even mentioned as much on the stream last night, because the referee seen it, VAR would have seen it, and they decided to take no further action other than the yellow card. So I never really expected there to be any recompense or any comeback on that one. This one here from the Mail, they say, Newcastle have been offered the chance to sign Celta Vigo's Oscar Mingueza after he entered the final 6 months of his contract. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because it should sound familiar to you, because it's another centre-back that Liverpool had been linked with. With Aston Villa and West Ham also interested, a fee of just £8 million would seal an immediate transfer. £8 million. Look, you can say maybe some of these players aren't the ones that Liverpool have their heart set on, but we know we could get Mark A this month, and the club are willfully choosing not to as things stand. And we are now almost, 9, 10 days into the month. They need to get cracking. I fear we won't see any business this month personally, but do let me know what you think. James Pearce has said, Virgil van Dijk on Bradley Martinelli incident. Our thoughts are with Connor first and foremost. Hopefully it's not the worst, but it doesn't look great. A long ball came over. Connor was challenging for it and then he fell down on the pitch. Martinelli obviously then pushes him off the pitch. Our players reacted to that and we came together. Everybody wasn't happy with it in that moment, and rightly so. It doesn't look great for Connor and it doesn't look great on Martinelli either. We're focusing on Connor. He'll have medical tests in the next 24 hours and then we will have to adapt. So if you do remember the incident, it was a ball over the top that Connor cleared. Nobody was near him. He made the clearance and you could see immediately as he landed that he went down in serious pain. David Lynch has said, whilst the widely craved January move for Mark A may not be planned by Liverpool, they've still been active in the centre-back market this month, with the question of whether this is a newly formed strategy aimed at stockpiling young defensive talent. Look, on the face of it, genuinely, I understand that. I do. I understand Liverpool stockpiling talent for the future and I applaud that. But we do need players for the here and now. And like I keep mentioning over and over again, fans can't keep writing off seasons with the hope of the future, the future, the future. This is supposed to be Liverpool's here and now moment, where we defend the title, where we push for the Champions League. And whatever Liverpool fan you speak to, every single one of them would say a centre-back is the bare minimum required in January. So, whilst David Lynch reported that, and like I said, no issues with that. I wish we do have great talent for the future. We also need people for the here and now. And surely they know that, especially with the Canada situation still not resolved. This coming out of Defensa Central, Real Madrid have been looking at Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Carlos Baleba, a name that we've mentioned in recent days, being linked with Liverpool, being linked, of course, with Manchester United, being linked with Spurs and many others. However, Real Madrid have balked at his asking price of over £75 million. Well, this is what Brighton do. Brighton want to sell players, and this isn't my wording, by the way, this is as it is reported. Brighton want to sell players for their future peak value. Not the value or the level that they're at when they're at Brighton, what they may get to. That's the type of numbers Brighton asked for in these deals. And this is over £75 million. We reported it the other day, the numbers were being discussed were about £80 to £87 million. So no surprise that Madrid might have balked at the asking price because it is rather high. They feel if they're going to spend that amount of money, it will be better investing in a dream midfield signing of Paris Saint-Germain's Vitinha instead. So that is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I will be back here tonight for the late night agenda. I hope you can join me for it. Looking forward to going back over last night, as there still seems to be a mix between our fan base of what to take from last night's game. For me, I think I went into it expecting the worst, and the draw had me feeling relieved more than anything. Not going to sit here and say I was over the moon delighted about it, but I was certainly very happy that we left there with a point because I had low expectations going into it. What that means longer term moving forward, of course, we'll discuss in tonight's late night agenda. Until then, thank you as always. Much love. We'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.